All right, this is going to be a quick episode. This is the second and last episode of the Cap Podcast. That's not clickbait or anything. This is the second to last episode of the Cap Podcast. All right, let's talk about it before we get into the episode. So, we're going to be giving y'all just some little secrets, hacks you could use to go ahead and remove any item off of your credit report, just as we're closing out the podcast. But the fact of the matter is, I've been in the credit industry doing a podcast since April 2021. Heading into 2024, I've been debating about this. I was thinking like, okay, should I stretch it out to April to meet the 3-year anniversary? But to me, it makes sense just to do it when it makes sense to me, right? So heading into 2024, I got a lot of different things planned as far as our business. You know, we're moving into a different direction. And the fact of the matter is, if you've been sitting here watching me for years telling you to fix your credit, I'm not going to be here all day telling you to fix your credit all day. So this is the second to last episode. Next episode is going to be the last one. So next Sunday, we're going to be wrapping up the Cap Podcast. So I need y'all to just keep that in mind as we move forward. So here's just a lesson on life too. That when someone's telling you to tap in, do what you need to do, they're not necessarily they might be serious. They're not necessarily going to be there forever telling you to fix your credit, telling you to, get things right. So, because I've been telling y'all, tap in, do this, do this, do this. I know that the way that my journey has been as a serial entrepreneur, I'm always moving on to bigger and new things. So, for example, I used to help people write books, like self-publish their books and things like that. I had a course called Book Idea to Execution, BITE. And basically this was in I want to say 2019, 2020. I had someone message me this year actually, asking me, oh, is the course still available and all that? Y'all watching me know that I'm talking about credit. I'm already on to the next, bigger and better thing. And planning with my team, we're on to bigger and better things. We want to focus more on the development of the YouTube. So I'm not saying that I'm going to just stop posting. But at the end of the day, too, you should take this as a lesson. When I'm telling you to tap in and do what you need to do, who knows if I just wake up one day and I'm just like, I don't even want to add value on YouTube no more, right? Y'all know I got the most valuable YouTube channel on the planet. But who knows if I'm just like, okay, cool, we're heading in a different direction. Now we're off the grid, So let the podcast situation be a lesson to y'all. Hopefully you've taken action. We over 100 episodes, over 170 episodes to help y'all as far as getting to the next level. Hopefully y'all can, make something out of it. But we're gonna move on to bigger and better things in 2024. Our focus is elsewhere, and y'all will see what we're doing. But our focus is primarily gonna be on the YouTube and other ventures that we got going on. So hopefully, episodes that are in the past have been helpful. I know that they are. It's just on you if you've taken action, actually do something with the information. But yeah, shout out to those of y'all that have actually been taking action with the information. Those of y'all that have been sleeping, you just think that I'm just going to be here forever telling you to fix your credit. This is your awakening. Next episode. It's the last episode of the podcast. All right. I'm not going to be here forever telling you to fix your credit. We're too grown for me to have to tell you okay, fix your credit, fix your credit, fix your credit. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. Same thing with my mentorship program. Who knows if I just wake up one day and I'm like, okay, I'm closing my mentorship program. I'm just going to focus on my current students. And to my current students as well, this is why it's important to take action while you're in the mentorship and don't just sleep on information. Because what if I just decide, okay, I'm done mentoring, So this is just a universal lesson on why y'all should appreciate people while they're in the moment, giving y'all that sauce, giving y'all that information, things like that. So keep that in mind. This is the second to last episode. This is not no joke or anything. I'm being dead ass. All right. So just want to give y'all a couple hacks, tips, tricks you could use to go ahead and get any negative item removed off of your report. And these are things that I don't think I've talked about as much. So one thing that y'all got to understand is this goes back to the Fair Credit Reporting Act and understanding consumer laws. You have to understand these consumer laws if you're going to get best results heading into 2024 and beyond. So one thing you got to understand is that part of the FCRA is for them to notate when you dispute something. So I'm pretty sure we put out content as far as the FDCPA. So 15 USC 1692 E8. If you dispute a collection, it could be verbal, right? It could be you literally picking up the phone and telling them that this is not your debt and you're disputing the debt, right? Then you hang up the phone. They're always going to record the line, right? This phone is being monitored or recorded or whatever they say, right? It's always going to be recorded. So if you wanted to prove yourself and go through court, you could pay somebody that has those credentials to be able to get phone calls when they're recorded. They would have to answer the debt collector and give them that information by law, right? So that's one little trick you could do. I've talked about it, 15 USC 1692 E8. And what I mean by a trick is like if you dispute a collection, you don't have to send a letter. It could be you verbally disputing, right? If your credit report updates after the 30-day period or whenever it updates next, in the comment section, if it doesn't say consumer disputes the account, that's a violation and that's grounds for removal. So I want y'all to take advantage of that. The next thing I want y'all to take advantage of is a maximum possible accuracy law. So 15 USC 1681 EB, right? So maximum possible accuracy, 15 USC 1681 E. EB is a maximum possible accuracy. It says things have to be have to have maximum possible accuracy, right? So one example you could literally do, and I've heard of people doing this too, right? So one thing you can do is literally like look at your credit reports. Like when you look at Experian, for example, you know when you go to the account number, it has the account number, but then it has like XXXX. It has stuff blocked out. You could literally call them and then explain to them the fact that that's not maximum possible accuracy. You don't know if that account is actually yours because it doesn't have all the numbers. Fair Credit Reporting Act says things have to be fully maximum possible accuracy. So how do we know that one of those X's isn't a 1 and not a 2 or something like that, you know? So you could leverage that kind of situation to get that negative item removed. So I encourage y'all to go ahead and call. I know on Experian, they do like the XXX thing. I think on, what's it called? Identity IQ. They'll have like the stars. So just really study the credit report and play along with the inaccuracies that you see on the actual report. And that'll help you facilitate getting that negative item deleted. So that's one thing you can do. And one thing y'all got to remember about credit is that I can tell you to do something. Someone else can tell you to do something. We might have got our results doing it, but maybe you might not get your result doing it. Maybe you do something, you tell us to do it. You get results, but we don't. So credit is just one of those things where you just have to try different things, right? I always tell y'all it's like a boxing match. So just keep going, just keep trying, just keep believing. There's a person that believes that they can do something, the person that believes that they cannot do the same thing. Both of those people are correct, right? So you got to understand that. You got to have that right mindset. You can't have a poor mentality. Poor people think that, everything is a scam. Poor people think like, okay, why is this happening to me? Poor people have that victim mentality. As we're heading into 2024, closing out the year, don't have that poor mentality. As we're closing out this podcast, don't have that poor mentality, right? Study all of these CAP podcast episodes, right? I've given y'all over 100 episodes of valuable information, right? So go ahead and study it. Continue watching the YouTube because we're going to continue dropping game on the YouTube. It's just that we're closing out the podcast because we're not about to wait for y'all to start messing with the information, right? This is a lesson for those of y'all that don't take action as well. When I say fix your credit, when I say do X, Y, Z, when I give you instructions, you're supposed to be doing it, right? So keep that in mind. Appreciate people while they're giving you the information that they're giving you. Don't take it for granted, right? So keep that in mind. So that's what you can do as well. The last thing I want to give y'all as we close is similar to the 1692 E8. So it's also in the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So this is just a 15 USC 1681 S-2. So it talks about the responsibilities of furnishers of information. So this goes back to what I said. Anytime you dispute an account and in the comment section, it doesn't say consumer disputes, that's a violation. What is a violation? Grounds for removal, right? This is why I want y'all. So we're closing out this CAP podcast. We're not putting out no more episodes. I want y'all to understand again the habit to not be scared of the possibility of suing these people, right? Because a lot of times they're going to make it hard for you. A lot of times you may have to sue them. Sometimes you might not have to sue them. You may have to sue them sometimes. So keep that in mind. 1681 S-2. Look up that law. If you dispute an item, I always want y'all to have the best practice of, okay, let me go and look at when the credit report is refreshed. If you're doing it for yourself, if you're doing it for clients, right? These are things you need to understand. A lot of people don't think like this, right? So this will help your credit repair business get you better results as well. So when the actual credit report refreshes, go back and look at the comment section. Does it say consumer disputes? Consumer disputes. If it doesn't, that's grounds for removal, right? And then on top of that too, I want y'all to basically look at, if you have a bankruptcy or you have a client that has a bankruptcy, you're gonna see it doesn't say it over there. So what does that tell you? That's grounds for removal as well. But just to give y'all a little bit of context on the reason why it doesn't say that, the bankruptcy court doesn't report to the bureaus, right? So because they don't report to the bureaus, if you dispute a bankruptcy, there's not gonna be anything for the furnishers to, say like, oh, consumer disputes. You got to remember, this is a public record information. They didn't get your, permission to report it. And these are different angles that we take to be able to use it as leverage to go get it for grounds of removal. So that's an example right there, 15 USC 1681S-2. If you disputed it, the Fair Credit Reporting Act says that they're supposed to notate that you disputed it. So if they don't, that's a violation. What's a violation? Grounds for removal. Hopefully this episode helped. Hopefully y'all got a bunch of good lessons. Appreciate people out there giving you, the best information in the world. And also just use these tips and tricks I gave y'all as far as being able to remove negative items off your credit. One thing too, I recently just created the DIY Credit University playlist on the YouTube. So that's like your whole DIY situation. If you're someone that's fixing their own credit, or if you want to fix your client's credit, go look at the playlist. I also have a credit repair business gems playlist for those of y'all that want to start your own credit repair business, right? So that playlist is there as well. Just go to the playlist on my YouTube. I know some of y'all may be listening to this on audio, on actual podcast, but take your butt to the damn YouTube. Try not to cuss because, I want to monetize this episode. But I think I sound dead ass earlier, but I just said it right now too. I don't know if YouTube going, hold that against me. Hopefully YouTube don't hold that against me, but make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. With that being said, y'all have a blessed one.